Hello and welcome to another stream. Let me send out a link here. Let people on the Discord know. Copy that video URL. No camera today, guys. Probably will do next time, or maybe the time after that. It's just so much easier without having the camera set up. So I feel like, you know, why not do more streams without the camera rather than less with the camera. All right, just gonna send out a link on Twitter. Send that bad boy out. Let people know. And we'll get to it in just a moment. Just gonna have a little bit of water. Not doing anything particularly exciting today. I mean, it's animation. It's never particularly exciting. I didn't actually check the audio. I had some trouble with that. So let me know if like I'm too quiet, music's too loud, etc., etc. I've got my giant metal drinking jug here, which you're gonna hear clang and clatter as I put it away. Let me just get a little bit more of that, and I'll be good to go. Alrighty. Okay, so yeah, pretty much just doing shading today. Shading and coloring. So, working on Trilby Dogtooth versus the Snapper Chap, which, if you'd like an update on, is 100% coming out this month. 100%. 100%. On the 8th, Monday, the final files and stuff will all be ready to send out to people, music guys, sound guys, just tightening it all up. I just added in a shot today. This was a shot that didn't even exist this time yesterday. So there's a sequence, there's a fight scene, and there's a moment that I really wanted to feel like super impactful. I need to stop saying like so much. I listened to the previous live stream I did, and for like 30 seconds, and I just said like constantly, so gotta stop doing that. But yeah, we have this moment where there's a fight scene, and there's a moment where Dogtooth, like, there we go, he kind of rips the creature apart in a way. He doesn't really kill it, but he hurts it. And I really wanted you to feel the struggle and the pain and the emphasis of how much Dogtooth was having to work to do that. So we have this scene of him wrestling with the creature, and kind of this big moment where he twists and pulls part of the creature off, but it didn't feel impactful to me. And I thought what we can do is we actually took the animation, I looped it a couple of times to sort of really get that feeling that they were struggling and wrestling. And then I added in another shot yesterday that was just very, very kind of blank, empty shot with no color, just to sort of get a look with the timing and the sound and the audio to see if it would work. And I thought that works better. So now it means that suddenly I'm finding myself having to quickly finish a new shot that is only about a second long. It just slipped in there, you know, to kind of give it some more impact. And I finished in betweening it today, finished doing all the lines and separations and stuff for the shading, and I thought, I don't know, I'm just going to be sat here very bored, very relaxed, coloring and shading for the next couple of hours, so why not jump on live stream and talk to some folks. So how are you all doing? Haha. Hey, Donny Arts, early morning to you too. Yeah. Hey, Shucharu, just in time. I was about to lose motivation for today. Well, this should be very demotivating for you. Shucharu, actually, guys, in the chat, Shucharu worked on this as an assistant. He did some animation for me last year, back when I thought it would be out last year, and it's taken so crazy long to finish. But it's so nearly done. I keep adding shots like this one. This one was added in, like I said, kind of last minute, because I just felt we needed it, but it's at that point now where it's really close to being done. This is like, I would consider kind of a finishing touch. We technically didn't need to have this shot in there. I just wanted it, looking back at the timeline. But Simon did really, really good work. So a couple of shots have him in betweening and colouring and cleaning up my rubbish. Hey Davy88, good to see you again. So alright. His wrinkled forehead is very exaggerated. I may be putting too many wrinkles there in the shading, but feel that he really is supposed to look like he's really look like it's killing him to do that. He screams at this point, like you see kind of he wrestles, and I'm going to repeat these frames a couple of times, so it's like arr, and then he goes, you know, and as he rips away. It's supposed to be a big heavy hitting moment. And I tell you, man, I've been working with this sound designer, really cool guy called Ben. And I had a meeting with him yesterday where we were talking about sound, and I think we're going to have another meeting in a couple of days' time. I'm really excited to have somebody help me with sound, because it's usually something I do by myself. And I know you shouldn't treat sound like an afterthought, but I kind of do, in a way. I always leave it till last, and I don't really give it the importance and the time that it deserves. But having a sound designer means we can really help some of these moments feel the right way, because I think sound is so important. I think sound it's really 50% of the film is sound, and I haven't treated it with 50% of the importance. And I think it may be even more important in animation, because in animation, of course, you're not looking at a real thing, you're looking at drawings, and I think to feel what's happening on the screen, you want that extra level of kind of connection with the audience, and you can do that through sound. So I think sound is very underrated. It's going to be really cool when we have all the sound design done for this. I've done quite a bit myself, but that was before I'd planned to work with a sound designer. So now we've got Ben on board, I can go, I'm going to leave it to the professional. And although he was very nice, he said that what I've already done is pretty good, so we can probably keep some of it, and he'll tweak it and mix it to be better. And I'm hoping I can get over some new files to Brian, the composer, tonight, because obviously when you're doing sound, you got to mix it with the music. So it's not just the sound effects, but you got the music and the voice acting and blah blah blah. Got to mix it all together. All right, let's see what people are saying in the chat. Harry S. Plinger. Shablamo. You fucker, it's 9 a.m. EST. How dare you make me pay attention? You don't have to pay attention to this, man. I'll be back. I'll be streaming again, Mr. Plinkett. Melody says, it's the best kind of procrastination. Don't procrastinate, Melody. Melody is an animator in her own right, and she's making some good stuff from the looks of it. So you shouldn't let me procrastinate, Melody. You should get back on it and work on your own things. You don't want to be looking at my rubbish. Oh, let me fix that. Let me fix that rubbish. Speaking of rubbish, let me fix that. That's not it. That's not it. We want a little highlight here on the corner of his lapel or whatever that is. There we go. So these ugly blue lines, we're going to erase them in a minute. I'm actually going to do a color replace, which I've only started using recently. And I'm going to take all these ugly blue lines you don't want to see and set them to be completely invisible by basically just selecting an alpha level of 0 on whatever color I want, and you'll see them all disappear, because we don't want these blue lines in the shot. Clearly they are messy. Okay, I think it looks good. This is only about, I don't know, what is that, 10 frames of animation, but we're gonna play them back and forth. We're gonna loop some and repeat some, so I think it'll have the impact we want. I may be even able to finish, well, I couldn't totally finish this shot on live stream because probably background and stuff, I'll have to do some tweaks in Photoshop, but we'll for sure get the actual animation part of this shot done on the live stream today, which I think is pretty good. I should save easy shots for live stream, actually things I can finish, because that's sort of a satisfying thing. You want to end on a high note and you want to actually have something on live stream you can totally finish and just get done. So let's see what people are saying in the chat. Harry, what was it like having a musician father? Well, I still have one. He's still with him. I spoke to him on the phone yesterday. He's still with him. I'm still with him. He's still with me. I spoke to him on the phone yesterday. It's great, man. I mean, he's a really cool man. He's a good dad, and he's very talented at what he does. And I think it was a good start for me in life to see you could sort of make your way doing art for a living, because I don't know, I don't think what I do is art, but I think it's closer to entertainment. But to see somebody can do an unusual thing for a living and make it work. Had my dad, you know, had a more regular job, I may not have had the confidence to try and pursue what I do and turn that into a self-sustaining, sustainable career, you know? It was great. My dad always encouraged me to do what I do. He often gave a lot of advice and creative suggestions, which I didn't always appreciate, you know? I'd be making my rip-off anime drawings, and he'd sort of suggest, you know, it looked more like Dick Tracy or some old thing from his generation. So there was that kind of generational difference, I guess, between us. You know, he because he's a creative guy, he'd actually make story suggestions or character design suggestions or whatever to set me on a different path. And you know, that's fine. I pushed against that, obviously, because I'm my own man. I do my own thing. But I love my dad to bits. Hey, the rookie, thank you very much for that donation. The rookie says, haven't caught a stream in a while. Well, there haven't been that many for a while. But thank you for the donation, dude. I really appreciate it. You don't have to donate. I mean, you could give that $5 to me on Patreon. But I got to admit, Patreon right now doesn't have that much stuff on for exclusives, so it wouldn't be tremendously worth your while. But we are bringing out some special stuff in Patreon, for Patreon, exclusively in June. I'm going to put out a Starbarians comic that's only going to be for Patreon supporters. So I really hope that's going to be something that will begin to make it right and begin to give people something back, something special for supporting me there. I think that's going to be a cool thing to get exclusive digital Starbarian comics, kind of like, not like you know, comic strip 3-panel things, but, you know, actual pages that you could print out if you wanted, or maybe look at on a Kindle or device or something, and actually read and enjoy, basically as a digital version of a traditional comic book layout. Let's get this. I'm going to definitely miss some areas here. I always do, because you start actually breaking it down with how many areas of the character's face are in shadow here. It's probably about 100 little areas. I don't know if it's that many, but certainly across all the frames it is. So you think, am I going to hit this 100% of the time, or am I going to leave like tiny, you know, like maybe that area instead of that area? Maybe I'd only hit one of those by accident. But I tend to find that playing it back highlights that kind of issue. You sort of see little areas flicker on and off, and you can catch things that you haven't shaded in properly. It's always at the shading stage too, I find gaps in the line art, you know, because you're trying to close these areas off and fill them with shading, and you go, oh, rubbish, I didn't I didn't color in or I didn't finish the line there around his arm or his eyeball or whatever. Hey, Gregor Scott, thank you for coming by, Gregor. Not really related. Out of curiosity, is there a quick way to change an animation made in 12 FPS on ones to 24? Or is it just better to start off in 24 and animate on 2s? Make it from 12... Wait, what was the question? this involves numbers. I can't do this. Oh, thank you, the rookie. Rookie's already supporting me on Patreon. Melody asks... is there a way to change an animation made in 12 FPS on ones to 24? I mean, I basically hit, if you're in Flash, I just hit F5. So you see, look, it's on ones, right? Hit F5, select this frame, hit F5, select this frame, and I just pad it out. That's how I, like, you know, remove. I don't know how you take them away, actually. Is it F3 or something? Maybe it's a different key. But yeah, I hit F5 to add frames in on Flash. But if you're not using Flash, if you're using Toon Boom, I wouldn't know exactly how you do that. It's probably a different key. Okay, let me get this sucker done. He's looking good. And I'm actually not sure what should be in this area down here. I think we'll just fill it in dark. No, wait, I'm gonna make it this thing here that the trash can lid he's attached to. It's a weird setup. He's got like his truncheon, he's stuck it through the handle of a trash can lid, and he's turning it kind of like a ship's, what do you call them? Like a ship's, what do you call those wheels? You turn on a boat. You call it a, I don't know, a navigational ship's wheel? That doesn't sound correct to me. He's turning it like that anyway, and kind of cranking it while the creature's still attached to it, biting into it. Anyway, hey Davy88, thank you for saying to become a patron in the future. Don't worry, I'm going to make a video on my main channel on YouTube. Once the comic's out, an exclusive to Patreon, I'll let people on my main channel know, because I feel then once there's some better stuff on the Patreon, it's more worthwhile letting people know. I'm a little ashamed of it right now. There's just not much good stuff people get for supporting me, and I'm extra thankful to them supporting me. But I figure it's gotta happen now. It's high time that I come back and actually put some stuff on there, and then I can start boasting about how great it is and letting people know that if they throw me a chunk of change, they'll actually get something good for it. Because doing occasional vlogs and updates, it's not really worthwhile. It's like, who cares? Why would you pay for that? I don't think I'd really want to pay for that. So I think you need to give people actual exclusive quality content. I think that looks good. Okay, so 2 more frames left to shade, and then we'll get into color, which will be maybe more visually interesting, although this character has a really gray color palette. I don't know if that's a tremendously bad thing or not. I don't mind too much. I mean, Batman is pretty gray, and I like Batman, but he is mostly gray. Mostly gray, this guy. And then there's a trash can lid, and that'll be gray. I've had to play a lot with the shading recently and kind of pump up the red values in the shading to preserve the skin tones a little bit. It's a funny thing because the character's very gray and the shading on him is all going to have this blue hue to it. It really has no skin color value to it, and I thought that looks a bit disgusting. He doesn't really look human. So I pumped up the reds in the shading to kind of preserve some of that skin tone in there a little bit, which I think worked, but it also means that he looks a bit purple, you know, so the shading is kind of blue and purple, and there's not really a purple light in the scene, but it's fine. I think it works. Actually, the creature he's fighting is purple. It kind of brings the palette together a little bit by putting some purple in him too. All right. Hey, Rebecca Doodles. Harry Ashfield says, a classic Partridge boss-eyed look. Well, I have that in real life, you know. I do have lazy eyes. I have one lazy eye. All of me is lazy, but yeah. I do have a lazy eye that is corrected when I'm wearing my glasses or when I'm looking at something, but if I'm actually not looking anywhere directly, one eye just settles down and kind of doesn't want to move. So that's not art imitating life, it's just a coincidence. I think it looks funny in the cartoons, and unfortunately it looks funny in real life when I'm actually daydreaming or whatever and my bloody eye goes wandering. Why does this face keep colouring in? Oh man, that's annoying the piss out of me. Can we fix this please, Partridge? What is going on? No, still doing it. Okay, this area here is not supposed to be in shadow, so... Yeah, there we go. There we go. We got it. It's being finicky. Alright. That's good. That's acceptable. Last frame. And then we'll go back and color this boy. Oh, all these little areas, you know, I wonder, is it even worth going in and coloring that in? It can take forever. I do find when I have other people color for me, they tend not to get those really little gaps, and it annoys me a little bit. Hurts my OCD, but it's probably not really worth doing. Okay, let's hit that little gap too. You can of course set it to color in those areas if you hit don't close gaps, but then, you know, you want it to close a little bit because you don't want to fill in certain areas sometimes. You've got to really strike a balance between what's quickest and best. Okay. Forgot to do some blue lines here, but that's okay. Alrighty, let's see what people are saying in the chat. Hey, Tamagotchi. Do you post Flash files to your Patreon? Who asked that? Sorry, it's scrolling too quickly. Ah, I couldn't see. I just saw the question. Jeez. All right, there's too many comments. Yes, I have shared one so far. I want to do one per cartoon, and technically the only cartoon I've actually put out since starting my Patreon was Kilgar's Code. So the intro to Kilgar's Code, when they're like fighting and flipping around, is on there. It may be hard to find. So what I need to do this month is a Patreon overhaul. That is my plan, to put everything in categories so that if you want to find something like that, it's in a clear category, and there's like a tagging system on Patreon where you can describe things with tags and then make the tags clickable and searchable. So yes, but currently we do have one editable Flash file, and I will put up one from Dogtooth. I'll probably put up this fight scene I'm doing now, so you'll actually see the this bit I'm working on. You'll be able to like break it apart and look at it and yada yada. So yeah, for sure, we do have one of those right now. Yeah, I'm sorry if I don't get to all your questions, everyone. Sometimes there's too many and I just can't, you know, I'm mostly focusing on the work, but I'll come by for sure and answer that stuff that I see. So, is the main animation finished for this cartoon? Gallo Joel, yes, it is, but I'm finding areas that need extra shots. So that's why I've said I'm finished with it about 12 times. So for example, I didn't have this shot yesterday. I didn't plan to put it in until I looked at a sequence and I thought that really needs something. It needs some impact. Oh man, I colored in the teeth here. I don't want to do that. I thought this needs... Basically, I wanted to delay something from happening. So I thought if I have another shot in there, the sequence will feel longer. I'm going to cut the teeth out here. I saw somebody say in the chat that I missed a finger. Damn it. I hate this. Oh, man. Oh, why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? What am I doing wrong here? Close large gaps. Jeez. It's just such a pain in the butt. Alright, let's just manually cut this one out. Alright, there we go. Oop, something like that. And where was the finger missing? I don't know if I see it. It'll show up later on, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm good, right? I think that's the shading done, but I don't know. All right, this is the fun part. Actually, it's not that fun, but it's going to make things look a little bit better. What we do is now go to. This is a good flash tip, guys. If you use tap, go to flash. Go to find and replace. Bring it over here because it's on the other monitor. Want to take that ugly blue and replace with whatever color, doesn't matter, but take the alpha down to 0. Hit replace all. Now you see we don't have any of those ugly lines anymore. We still have the green ones around his eyes, but I'll fix those in a bit. So that looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, okay. Right, so we can get to shading now, and I'll open up. This is our main file. This is the sequence we're working on. So the shot just goes in here. See, like he's turning it like that, you know? It's just an extra way of adding some real stress and some oomph to that moment. Like it really looks like he's killing him. And in the soundtrack, you know, he's going like that. He's real, you know, screaming. So, hey, Michael, thank you for coming by. Michael says, whoa. I don't know what you're whoaing about, dude. But I'm glad you're here. Hi, Frank Summers. Thank you for coming by. Hey, everyone. Hey, Lewis. Man, there's too many people in the chat. I can't keep up with it. I'm really sorry if you're in the chat and you're thinking, why isn't Harry saying hi or answering my question? Copy and paste it a couple of times. I'll see it for sure. You know, I'll get to you definitely. But we got to open these. We got to open up some frames. Now, I need the inside of his mouth. This is like the same angle. There we go. We got the tongue and the gums. That's the stuff I always forget to get colors of. So let me find. What are we on? Oh, this shot is so weird. This one got changed a lot, so it's all broken into weird layers. All right, let's take this image. And I'll put that in the file here because I think we're going to need that one. That's really good for giving us all the colors we want. And then we're going to want the creature's skin tone and the creature's, sorry, the trash can lid too. So I'll put that in there too. And I think that'll be all we need. Oh no, wait, we don't need the skin tone. We need the creature's teeth. There you go. The teeth. And the trash can lid. And I think, coloring wise, those are all the shades we actually need. So what am I going to do? Let's turn off the shading first of all. I'm going to do the dark rings around his eyes, because then we can get rid of the green guide layers or guidelines. So let's do that. Come on, Partridge. And I'll see what's going on in the chat. Camera layer. Man, my stomach is gargling big time. I'm not hungry at all, actually. So if you hear that, please know I'm not strangling a badger under the desk or anything. This noise of, you know, that noise. It's my guts, man. Kyler Panky asks, how long have you been animating? I started making cartoons when I was 15 years old. So, oh, the trick I showed earlier, Michael says. Thank you, Michael, for woeing about that. Yeah, man, I started animating when I was 15, Kyler, and I've been 15 for many years. No, that's a lie. I am 32, so over half my life now. Okay. Yeah, it's a really good tip, Michael. That color replace thing in Flash is Someone's texted me. It's really important for me because it means I don't have to worry if I color something. If I don't like the color of a character, let's say I realize, you know, after doing basically every single shot in the cartoon that I want someone's hair to be pink and not green, for example, I can just go ahead and do that. As long as you haven't used that shade of pink for anything else. Because you can only replace, you know, you can replace a color, you can't replace a color with specifically shot by shot. You can do, you know, replace once or replace all, but you can't do it, you know, per shot, for example. But pretty much I tend to use a lot of unique colors, so that hasn't been a problem. For example, the creature in this cartoon was originally red, and people said it looked like a slig or a squig. It was something from Warhammer, I think. So I made him from red. Kind of made him like a peach color, so a little bit more like salmon pink. And I think I did that with the color replace that I just showed off, and it looked a bit better, I thought. And I still got people making the same comparisons. So I've changed him a third time, and this was really late in the game, this one. I changed him to be purple, which I'm sure the comparisons are still going to come, but I think they're a bit less valid now. He's not red. He's not even remotely red. He's not pink. He's basically purple. So yeah, that came very late in the game. All right, so let's do the gum color now. Oh, actually, I've made the gum color the same as the tongue. I think I want to do that. I think I want to make the gum color unique. Maybe more pale. This is for the gum. Yeah. Be a bit paler still, maybe. Just want it to. Yeah. I don't know what color the gum should be. I very rarely show gums in my cartoons, and it's only the colors are always unique because I always forget to keep a record of exactly what the swatch was. So the gum colors are never very consistent. All right, I think it's fine what I've got. I'll keep that. So we want to color them gums in, boy. Hey Kyla, I'm glad to hear you're inspired, man. Yeah, 16 is a good age to start animating. Basically, you can learn anything, I think, in a couple of years. So by the time you're 20, you'll probably be pretty damn good if you keep up with practicing. And 20 is still practically a teenager. You're still very young. So you're good, man. You can. I think you got a good future ahead of you if you keep that up. Oh, Michael said he didn't know you could alpha them. Yeah, that's what I use, man. I use it to basically make my guidelines, and then I just turn them off. They still exist. They're still there. They're just alpha, and you can't see them. So it's really good to do color separations with. All right. And we want to do the hair now. Someone said the hair isn't colored in properly on the color reference. Do you mean this bit here? That bit there? Don't, man. You're gonna give me a complex. I already have enough of that kind of problem. Please don't be pointing out little moments like that to me. Drive me nuts. Okay. That's not what I want. Terranium says, I can't draw anything without references, but I still want to animate for whatever reason. I mean, hey, Terranium, I mean, I need references all the time. I don't necessarily use them, but I need them. I'm okay at drawing people. That's about it. Maybe people and normal looking bedrooms, you know, rooms, the kind of rooms you're always in. You know, I couldn't draw the Queen's ballroom or whatever. I couldn't draw something from a palace, but I could draw my bedroom probably without needing any reference because I'm in it all the time. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff I can't draw. I can't draw cars very well without reference. I can't draw horses and a lot of animals. I certainly can't animate animals without reference. So you're not alone in that regard, and there's no shame in using reference. My dad growing up, I was speaking earlier about how he'd give me a lot of advice and tips. He was always saying you need to learn to draw everything. He said, oh, one day if you're employed as an artist, someone's going to say, Harry, I need a shot of a horse jumping over a car for this comic. And you're gonna go, Dad, I can't draw it. I don't know why my dad would be the one employing me in this situation. But I'd say, Mr. Employer, I can't draw a car jumping over a horse. Or a horse jumping over a car. Car jumping over a horse is funnier. I can't draw that because I never learned to draw that. And I said, Dad, you know, I'll figure it out. You know, I'll figure it out, Dad. And I think he didn't know the amazing amount of reference that there'd be with the internet, because back then, I mean, the internet existed in the 90s, just we didn't have it. It wasn't that prominent. And he didn't know I'd be able to bring up, you know, video of pretty much anything I could imagine within seconds, which of course doesn't mean you can draw it, but having that reference there is a very good stepping stone. I think if I gave myself enough reference and studied, you know, within a day, I could draw horse anatomy. I'd probably, not in a day, but in, I'm sure I could blag it. I could sort of cheat it for like one drawing if I needed to draw a horse jumping over something. I've put horses in my cartoons before. They've been in the Skyrim cartoons, so. They are nightmares, though, to draw and to animate. They're just awful. I just don't understand how the legs work. Same with big cats, you know, lions and pumas and any cat really. All right, so let's color in the red of the mouth. And to tell you what, I'm going to make the background color less bright. Let's make it like a blue for the time being. So when I put in the whites of the eyes in a little bit, I can tell which areas I've colored in. Because if everything's white, I won't know what I've colored in and what I've not when we're coloring in white things. Could a horse jump higher than a car? Asks Greg Scott. Well, that's a good physics question. I don't know. A car could benefit from a ramp in a way I don't really think a horse could. My mother-in-law used to have a morgue of pictures, all kinds of stuff. Why a morgue, Frank? Why was it called a morgue? Is that the collective term for, you know, reference pictures? Maybe it is. Sounds kind of morbid, though. Alright. If anyone could help Melody with a question about project settings in Flash. I'm not quite sure what I do for that. Cinetic says I've been saying I'm going wait, hang on. Oh, you're gonna set aside time to watch my tutorials. Oh, well, thank you, but you don't need to do that for any particular reason. They're a little bit out of date now because, you know, that version of Flash is so old. You'd probably benefit more from, I don't know, buying the Animated Survival Kit by Richard Williams. It's a really, really good book, and basically has all the stuff that I put in my videos better explained and more comprehensive. So yeah, I don't love those tutorials. I kind of did them for the pay, really. Somebody offered me pay to do it and I needed the money, so there's no harm in that, but I don't really stand by them as amazing examples of what to follow necessarily. They're just not very, they're okay, they're just not very comprehensive. There's a lot in there that isn't explained, and I don't think they're that fun to watch. So I'm going to come up with a new color here, the back of the throat, because I drew that for one frame and I want to keep that in there. So just make sure it has like a darker color. It'll be shaded as well, remember, so it will actually be really dark. Okay, alright, let's do the whites now and the teeth and the eyes. This character is based on me, appearance-wise, and my teeth are not that white. My eyes aren't even that white, but certainly not my teeth. That's a lie. That's an animation lie. That is, that's hyper-reality. Look at his face. Blowing my nose. I swear that's what it is. You don't have the camera on me today, so you're gonna have to take my word for it. Hey, Warleo, thank you for coming by. Alright, let's get those. Alright, that's good. I like that, and then we'll put in the black in the eyebrows. Yeah. And then we'll move on to some big scary areas. I don't like doing the skin tones and stuff in Flash because there's just so much of it, you know. So much of the character is his face in a close-up. Bigger areas are always a pain to do. I like doing the little areas because they tend to be more closed off. Okay, so now let's do the hat first. Oh, there's a color I don't have. I don't have the band of his hat because of the perspective there. So let's go ahead and there we go. There it is. Oh, I didn't finish the black yet? What's wrong with me? Why am I not finishing off colors? I tend to do every color one at a time, and then, you know, before I move on to the next one, I'm just forgetting my flow here a little bit. I'll go back to the black in a sec. Let me see what people are saying in the chat. Do you think you'll ever return to Bowstar? No, I probably won't. I mean, I could see myself maybe animating something in that very crude style because it's fun to do and it's really quick to do. It means that people don't have to wait a year for me to make a new video, but I don't want to return to that specific character, I don't think, because it's sort of similar to Starbarians, but not. I'd rather do Starbarians, but I wouldn't mind bringing Bowstar into Starbarians, because I think that could be kind of fun. I could, you know, just combine those worlds rather than continue one versus the other. Thank you very much, Warleo, for the chat, super chat. I'm a diploma animation student in West Australia. Well, good, man. I really hope that you turn it into a career and do something good with it if that's what you want to do. Do you want to work as an independent like your old pal Harry, or do you want to go and work in a studio, or what do you want to do in animation? You can share that in the chat, and hopefully I see it. I'm always curious if people want to work in studios or want to carve their own path. I'm not passing judgment, by the way. Both are very, very, very valid, and I have friends that work in studios that do amazing stuff. But I'm jealous because they're part of a studio. You know, they can go away and make amazing things fairly regularly, but because they're working with other people, you know, they have big teams, and so they can, you know, make a whole movie or a whole TV show. And there's me over here taking 28 years to do one 3-minute cartoon, but I also get total freedom over what I'm doing, and I don't have to answer to any, you know, creative drivers, and I get total ownership of it. So there's good and bad to both ways of working, I think, for animators. Hey, Lewis says you say you've not done much animation lately. Well, don't let it get rusty. You're good. I mean, you're doing other things, right? You're working with JonTron, you're editing, so that's cool. Animation is for suckers anyway, let's be honest. It's not the most fun thing to do in the world. I love the results. I really like having made an animated short, but I hate actually animating. It's very tedious. If I could find a way to create animation by essentially eating sandwiches and watching movies, I would do that instead. If I could sit down, eat a sandwich, and watch a movie, but at the end of it, have an animation, I think that would be the best of both worlds. I watched The Running Man last night. Actually, it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger film I've never seen. It was alright. I didn't love it. It's okay. It was very straightforward and basic, and it was sillier and cornier than I thought it would be. I thought it would have a bit more... I don't know, I just was expecting it to have like more gore or more social commentary than it did. I guess it already had quite a lot, but the acting and everything was kind of straightforward. I liked it. Certainly didn't offend my tastes in any way. I like those kind of films, but it was just really straightforward. Didn't help that it's one of those films that's kind of been remade and ripped off by people a lot. I mean, it's basically the Hunger Games of the 80s. Battle Royale is similar. I've already seen films that have kind of done a similar thing, so it doesn't help. You know, if you listen to pop music from the 70s and 80s and 90s, you go back and listen to the Beatles and you think, oh, that's not so great. But, you know, they were on the cutting edge. They changed the game. They were new and they were fresh. So you always got to give props, I think, to things that maybe were forward-facing and new at the time. Alright, let's do the flesh tone. Putting it off. Don't want to do it, but it's a necessary evil. Yeah, Running Man is written by Stephen King. You're right, Melody. I went and read some trivia. It was a Richard Bachman novel, and Richard Bachman is Stephen King, but it's a pen name that he put out books under the name of. And I heard the producer that bought the rights to it didn't know he'd bought the right to a Stephen King book. He didn't know about the Richard Bachman Stephen King alias. So that was a surprise to him after he'd already bought it, which, I mean, maybe raised the value in a sense. I wonder if they could legally claim it was written by Stephen King in the trailers. They probably would have done that if they could get away with it. I think that if you put something out under a pen name, they can't credit it as a different pen name. I know J.K. Rowling has a pen name. I forget. I think she has a male name that she puts stuff out under, and I'm imagining you couldn't legally adapt one of those books, say, into a film or a TV show and claim it was written by J.K. Rowling. So I don't know about that. My brain can't tell when too big is too big. I jumped from ambitious pilot to shorter story. Looks like I need to go simpler. It's disheartening. Oh, Thomas, man, it's like... I would say starting as small as possible is always good, because whenever you are doing something new, you can be overwhelmed by it easily. And I think starting small is a great idea, because it means once you do it, if you go too small and it turns out to be a real easy, simple thing, well, you haven't lost anything. You've still made something. You just happen to have made a very small thing. That's why the first Starbarians cartoon is 30 seconds long. The only reason it's longer is because it's got credits and a big disclaimer at the front asking people on YouTube to not take it down. The reason I did 30 seconds is I actually thought that would be a way of... I thought, if I make something that's 30 seconds, I know I can finish that. Even if it takes a year, I know I can finish it. And it did take way longer than it should have taken, because that's the name of the game with Starbarians. The animation just takes forever. But when I was done, I went, okay, I get it now. I get that it's doable. If I can do 30 seconds, I can do a minute. If I can do 3 minutes, I can make a whole episode. So I extrapolated from 30 seconds to 3 minutes, and then was, again, it took me a year to do, and it really probably wasn't worth it because it's not that good, the first one. I still don't think they're that good. I think maybe episode 4 is pretty good whenever that comes out. But my point is that if you start small, you kind of can't fail the smaller you start. So that will build up your confidence and give you an awareness as to how long it may take you or how expensive or difficult it may be to do something at a bigger scale. I was thinking recently about making toys. I love toys, and I want to make toys and sell toys. And I was thinking, okay, that is a completely new world to me. Completely new. I've had prototype action figures of the Starbarians made by a very talented toy designer called Joe Amaro, and I'd like to work with Joe again. He did a fantastic job, and I looked at them and went, okay, these are great, but the cost of making them and putting them into production was about $30,000. That was at the time. It's probably more right now. No way could I afford that at the time. No way. So I couldn't afford that now. I can afford it even less now because I spent a whole year making this cartoon and not putting out anything or making any money. So I know that I can't do that. And I was thinking recently, well, why don't I start over and just make something really damn small? I did the same thing with animation. The first cartoon I ever made was about 5 seconds long. 5 seconds. It was a little pig playing guitar. And I just thought, if I finish this and make it look good at 5 seconds, I know I can come back and do something bigger next time. So I was thinking, I want to make a toy and sell it and do packaging and, set up a website. You can order it and get it in people's hands. But I've got to do that small to begin with. What is small? Well, it's not going to be big, expensive action figures with multiple points of articulation. It could be a very small, unarticulated rubber figure, maybe not even with paint, maybe the smallest, most basic toy you can imagine. And true, a lot of people probably would look at that and go, I don't want to buy that, it's small and it's boring. So I'd have to find a way to make it not like a financial risk to myself to fund it and put it out there. But I think that's maybe what I'm going to do. I can see the first Starbarians toys being basic in every way, basic and cheap for me to make and cheap to sell and cheap to buy. And if that works and I'm able to not fall on my butt doing that, to come back and go, all right, that's step 1. What's step 2? Maybe now we can put a little bit more paint on them, make them a little bit bigger, maybe put some articulation in there or make them of a better, stronger material. And I think you got to approach a lot of things like that in life. Don't just jump into the fray and do the hardest thing right off the bat. Sometimes you could start really basic and build your confidence and experience up as you go. So that's my advice. Hey, Simon LaChance. Thank you for the big old super chat, buddy. Appreciate that big time. Simon is somebody who works, he makes video games for a living. How's that? Check out Berserk Studios if you want to see Simon's games. Simon and I have been chatting recently about live streaming and how we can make the live streams better. And our goal, if Simon's still up for it, is to help me do some stuff to make the live streaming more regular. Well, not make it more regular, but make it so that we get some actual coded prompts and things on the screen. I can't really explain it because I'm an idiot and I have a baby brain. But Simon knows what he's talking about. Basically, we can make it so that if someone donates or if someone subscribes, we get like a cool, funky pop-up. Now, I have done some very basic stuff like that before through Streamlabs, but we're talking about doing it in a more customized, cool way, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, I'm hoping that you and I can chat soonish, Simon, and talk about that if you're still up for doing that, because Simon's got the big tech brain. He knows about coding those kind of things. Hey, yeah, so Tom, don't mention it, man. I'm glad that's good advice. And yeah, just the smaller you start, the less chance you think you have a failing at the beginning. Do it, because then if you don't fail, you'll build your confidence and your experience up. So yeah, thank you for taking that advice on board, buddy. Yes, Simon, I'm still up for it too. James Cope says, do you think there's a series that influenced your humor and style? Yeah, a lot of things did. I mean, animation-wise, South Park was really, really big for me. Growing up, Family Guy. I know people dump on Family Guy a lot, but I can't help it. It was very informative. Ren and Stimpy. Beavis and Butthead. I know I'm just listing them, but it really is a big mix. I don't think if it was one more than anything, it would probably be South Park. But that's humor. That's not really visuals. Obviously, my stuff doesn't look anything like Family Guy. I'd say visually, things from the 80s more. So like Real Ghostbusters, the animated Beetlejuice show, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Visually, I like that stuff. But humor and tone... humor, I like South Park. Family Guy makes me laugh occasionally. I don't really watch it anymore, but I'm talking about when I was most influenced by things. So age 16, for example, I was big into Family Guy, not really following it anymore. South Park I was with for a lot longer. That's humor. And then in terms of tone, I don't know actually. I think The Simpsons has a great tone, mixing seriousness and humor. The classic Simpsons are really good at that. I think King of the Hill's really good at that. And yeah, I mean the tone in Dogtooth, the thing I'm working on right now is not like that. It's more, I don't know, it's more like Ghostbusters. It's more kind of a horror comedy thing. Okay, so we want the mid-gray now. We've got like a dark gray, a mid-gray, and a couple of light grays. Hey, Bowser! Dude, you don't need to give me a super chat. You support me on Patreon. But you don't need to double it up. Bowser, thank you very much. Bowser says, here's a cup of coffee. Hopefully YouTube doesn't take too much of this. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. That is extremely sweet of you. I just had a cup of coffee, actually, although I made it myself at home. I didn't pay for it. It was terrible. I love my mum. She's a good woman, but she gave me a couple of weeks back a jar of Coconut Island coffee granules. This coconut coffee, and I don't mind coconut, but it doesn't make for great coffee. So, thank you. I can use your kind support there and turn it into a superior cup of coffee. Okay, so we need the shirt color in now. And the backs of his arms have an armor layer, so we'll grab that gray. And again, like that gray is different to the hat gray, which is different to the shirt gray, which is different to the jacket gray. There is, I'm not kidding, probably 10 shades of gray on this character. Not 50 shades of gray, 10 shades of gray, okay? Oh yeah, people say don't forget to save. Thank you, Davy88. Appreciate it, buddy. I'm going to save for sure. Oh, Wallow says, oh, you're answering a question I asked earlier. Thank you, Wallow. Wallow says, sorry, I said, Warleo. Am I saying that correct? Which way is right? I like the freedom of being independent. I also like the company and security of working in the studio. So, yeah, you're 17. You're right. You don't have to make that decision yet. And James Cope says, being from the UK, I'm under the assumption you may have seen Brass Eye as well. Yeah, I've seen a bit of Brass Eye. I do like Armando Iannucci a lot. I think he worked on that. And I love Alan Partridge. And I like what I've seen of the Day-to-Day. But I have not watched much Brass Eye. I think that came out when I was at university, when I didn't watch that much new TV because I didn't have a TV. I basically only had the internet, so I was sort of catching up with shows that I was already familiar with. I had friends that were big into that, but I'm sure I would like it, definitely, if I like their stuff, you know. Oh yeah, we got the trash can lid too. That's another shade of grey. Yet another shade of grey. And it looks exactly like the armor grey. It's just a little bit off, a little bit greener maybe. Nope, that's not right. Then we got the teeth. And then the final thing, we got color in. final thing is the brown stick. What's brown and sticky? A stick. Yeah, we only need one color for that. You don't see the wrap around it. And then coloring wise, we're done. Now I've got to go and hit find and replace and get rid of the ugly green lines. So do that. So we'll replace it with the alpha color, and now you've got yeah, this I wrote should be 10 here. That's my great handwriting you could barely make out, because I originally drew this first frame with too much of a thin line, so I just put a little reminder to make it thicker. I just, like, you can grab the artwork in Flash and like make the lines thicker by doing something called expand fill. You grab it and you go to modify, shape, expand fill. So okay, so we got, let me see now, see if we screwed anything up or if we're good to go. 1, 2. That all looks good. All right. Okay, so that looks good. I think we're okay with that. Okay, so I'm gonna grab these frames. We're gonna go into our main file here, and they need to be. See, that's not a frame that I drew. I can tell you that's not a frame I drew because it's got a crazy smear on it, and I think, if I'm not wrong, I think that was drawn by, it wasn't Simon. I'm pretty sure that was drawn by Doodle. If anyone knows Doodle TV, Patrick drew that. I think that was one of his. See, it's got that anime smear, but it looks good, right? In action, it looks pretty cool. So I'm glad he did that, and I like it. We keep it in. It's playing back a bit slowly there, but whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Crack, crack. Yes, yes. Once those sound effects in there, it's going to sound a lot better. But the sound effects are not in there yet. All right, so timing. I got my rough timing here. You see, I don't even have all the frames drawn yet, but this is kind of what the timing's going to be like. Something like that. So let's get it. Let's get it fixed up in a minute, and I'll see what people have said in the chat. Michael says, I love Expand Fill. It's a lifesaver. It definitely is, buddy. Gregor says he didn't realize he'd be getting a live voiceover session. Well, there you go. All right, guys. You know what I'm going to do? Davy88 says good work for an hour. Yeah, not bad, right? I do smears, Terranium. I do smears in my underpants. No, I do them occasionally. I just don't do them enough. You know, it's not something that I'm kind of leaning into enough. Hey, thank you, Lathan Land and BG Sam for coming by. Guys, I'm going to take a quick break because I got to blow my nose. Yes, yes, they're not fart sounds. My nose gets stuffy on the live streams. I need to figure out why that is. I'm probably not breathing through my nose while I'm talking to you all. I'm going to take a quick break, use the bathroom, and I'll be back in a sec. I'll talk to you in 2 minutes, okay? I'll be right back. Bye-bye. Hey, what up? I'm back. Let me sit down in my grandpa chair. No standing desk today, actually. I had to take a break from the standing desk. It was killing my feet. Okay, so let me see what people are saying in the chat. Hey, it's Joe. As the Sun Sleeps, guys, if you click on that account name, As the Sun Sleeps, you'll see a little music video I did with my friend Joe and his band As the Sun Sleeps. Video is called Lifelines, if you want to check it out. I miss you too, Joe. I'm sure we'll have a get together when the world goes back to normal, which is going to take some time, but... Hey, Roji Mech says, I know Doodle is from my country. Yeah, Doodle is from Poland. He's a good guy. Alright, so we're turning, like, to this point. What am I doing here? I'm not going to probably be able to fix the timing on this shot exactly today, because I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I'm gonna have to watch it back a couple times, so we're gonna kind of create like a rough version of the timing, something like that. He's like comes up, he vibrates, you know, a little bit. Maybe we don't need to loop it, I don't know. Probably looping too many times there. And then we want this frame again. Do that. Something like that. And then he pulls away. Alright, let's delete our frames underneath. They're confusing me. This isn't exactly right, I'm sure, but the idea is something like... Okay, hang on. I hate this. Sometimes it kind of... If you select a frame, it stays selected, so you get all that crap. Get the red lines and stuff that we don't want to see there. So, something like that. It's a really short moment. I think I said up at the beginning that this was a shot you're barely going to see. Oh, I just noticed there's an area I've not colored in. I can go and correct that. That'll probably work for now. I may go in and tweak some parts of it later, but let's just look at it in context. Like, he starts to turn. Yeah. And then... Hang on a second. Would this be better? Oh no, I made it worse. Yeah. Alright, well, it sort of works. It's not perfect, but I gotta go in and fix that color. So let me just get a swig of my water bottle I filled up at the bathroom sink, which would make Joyce disgusted with me because she filters all the water in our house, but I don't mind tap water. It's usually fine for me. Okay, man, I got some nice comments in the chat. Thank you, Sketchy Times TV.
You need me to get you water?
No, I'm filling it up in the bathroom sink. We're good.
I can get you water.
There's no camera, don't worry.
Yeah, okay.
No, but you...
Water. I'll get you water.
Oh, she's filling up. Okay, Joyce, say hi.
Hello.
Can you just explain why you've walked in?
I heard that you needed a water.
No, I know I was filling it up with the bathroom water.
It's tap.
From the toilet bowl.
Yuck.
Alright. Yeah, anyway, I just want to say thank you to some people in the stream. 80 of Hamry. Fantastic animator. Yeah, As the Sun Sleeps. That's my buddy Joe. Thank you for coming by. Yeah, dude. There's a lot of people in the chat. Angry Jack 97. Thank you for coming by. All right. Let's finish this stinking coloring that I forgot to do. It's the turn off the shading. It's the mid gray that he has on his holsters. It says this area at the back here that I didn't color in. Yeah, that kind of thing, right? So the idea is that he's wrestling the beast. Yeah, that doesn't... Yeah, I don't... I feel like... I feel like it needs to be faster still. Hey, thank you.
You're welcome.
There's some real water made with water. Thank you, honey.
Alright, let me just get all your
She's clearing all the crap off my desk. Thank you, honey. All my old cans and refuse and... She comes up here every so often and there's always mess on my desk. I intended to bring it down, don't worry. I did intend to bring it downstairs. Alright. Alright, there's my... Oh shit, I'm drinking out of a big water bottle. I can't see what's inside it. And I actually put ice cubes inside it. I didn't know. And they just clanked against my teeth. Okay, this would all make sense if I had a camera, but I decided no camera today. Okay, so I don't like the speed. I feel like it needs to be... I feel like it needs to be quicker here. So maybe that could be extended a bit. Certainly going to have to play with this shot. I may even need to draw some new frames. I don't know. It looks like he's relaxing at the end there. It should actually get more intense. Maybe it needs to be on ones the whole shot. Gosh. There we go. There we go. Put that in there. It's really getting the pull. Like you want it to really look like he's ripping his arms out to get it to move. Maybe I just didn't animate it very well. There's also that as an option. Oh, that sort of works. Maybe I could just add one more. One more little vibration in there. Just 2 more frames. Alright folks, I'm going to stop playing around with it now. I'm realizing I'm just getting into my OCD Harry world of just endlessly tweaking stuff. Alright. So what we're going to do is we need a background for sure. I'm going to take the background. It's basically in this shot because I don't think I need to redraw it, but it may need to get scaled up a bit. I don't know. He needs a shadow probably behind him as well. Hey! Just call me Leo. Well, thank you very much, Leo, for the super chat, buddy. That's so awesome of you. You guys, you don't need to give me super chats. I would rather you support me on Patreon, because then you get something back for it. But right now, you don't get much back for it. You got the Discord, which is exclusive. You've got Starbarian Comics coming out this month. Well, the first one, which is going to be completely exclusive to Patreon. But like I say, you know, that hasn't happened yet. That is to come. That's down the line somewhere. But thank you so much for that super chat. Joyce also brought me some Ricolas. Do you know what these are? These are like little sucky sweets for your throat. I'm going to have one because my nose is a little bit congested. Hope you don't mind. Cut and print, says Gregor. Yeah, it's nearly done, dude. This shot came out pretty good. Alright, I'll just save. Thank you, Immortal Demon, for suggesting to save. Thank you for coming by. Mindless Ronin says, many brilliant animators from Newgrounds still seem to be on their own. Since I understand the climate of the animation market, I don't know if it's by choice or not. It is for me. I think I could go and work in a studio if I wanted to. Saving, not responding. That's a good sign. I could go and work in a studio, but I really don't want to. I want to work... Because if I went and worked in a studio, you know, I'd be working on things by other people. And I really don't want to do that if I can help it. I prefer to tell my own stories with my own characters and, you know, be in charge of that. I really consider myself a storyteller that happens to choose animation as the medium rather than a just a pure animator. James Cope says, are they Swiss herb sweets? Yes, they are. That's what they are. Geranium says, can you talk in Discord about things you want to do if you want to give something back to us? Yeah, we can talk about that in Discord. Geranium's a regular over on our Discord, which is a Patreon exclusive thing for the time being. Well, yeah, actually for the time being and permanently. I'm not going to open it up to non-supporters. Jeez, man, look how long this... Alright, if you want to ask questions, do it now, because I can't do anything while it's saving. There's Immortal Demon suggesting I save, and I appreciate that, but it takes freaking forever. That's probably why I don't do it very often. Geranium, Animate doesn't always take this long to save. It is dependent on the file size of the thing you're working on. And this isn't the whole cartoon. This is just the fight scene. This is just, what? A 36, 37 second scene. And it's taking this long to save. But I mean, there's a lot in here. There's tons of animation frames, tons of shading, tons of backgrounds. So, yeah. When are you planning the next Shot Blast? Asks James. There will be another one. I don't think it'll be until after this cartoon is at least done, which doesn't mean it has to be out there. Like, I don't think there's going to be another Dogtooth shot because I'm just too wrapped up. I can do stuff like this where it's not really eating into my time that much. But Shot Blasts for me, I know this sounds crazy, but they are actually quite a lot of work because I spend all day worrying about what I'm saying and re-recording it constantly. Gregor does the editing, and Gregor, you know, is doing the heavy lifting in that sense. But for me, it's a lot to try and organize things in a way that I can show people every step of the way what I'm doing and make sure it's all recording. So I want to make sure I'm on a new project before I do that again, because the Dogtooth project right now has too many things going on. It's too much stress to try and get it all finished. But there will be another one. It'll probably be on whatever I'm animating next, which could be... Don't know what it'll be next. Van Keys says, is your shading a reduced alpha on the layer above? Yes, it is. It's 50% black on the layer above that I then... Oh my god, look how long it's taken to save. I copy and paste that then into a symbol once I'm done and make the symbol a movie clip. The reason I wait until I'm done is because movie clips, you can't really watch them back in real time in Animate, so you have to make sure that the timing and stuff all works well and there aren't any problems. And then I usually set it to an overlay or to a darken or to a combination of the two, pump up the blue or pump up the red and play with it in that sense, so you don't just have this grey empty looking shadow that you currently see on the character. We're actually gonna make sure that make sure that you see some of that color back in the shot. Kyler asks, what's your favorite animation you made? I suppose I like Starbarians episode 3 because of how much of a challenge it was. It's more that I'm happy it got made, but I don't love it. In terms of things that I think are funny, probably Dr. Beast is one of the funniest. I think when this is out, it'll probably be my favorite, just because what it means to me. I really like the character. Yeah, this is all your fault, Immortal Demon. You're immortal, you live forever, you can wait for Flash to save. The reason it's taking this long in particular is because I'm live streaming. Like, live streaming slows my computer down hugely, and the saving slows things down too. Those two things in conjunction is not good, it takes forever, so... Terranium, I have used Clip Studio Paint. I don't really like it that much. It's fine. There were no problems with it, but I don't see why I would switch from drawing in Toon Boom if I want to use Vector and coloring in Photoshop. I like coloring in Bitmap. I don't necessarily need, you know, Vector, I guess. No, not Vector. Sorry, raster. Pixels. I like coloring with pixels. I don't care about coloring in Vector or whatever, you know, Clip Studio Paint does. For me, it doesn't bring anything to the table. I already have programs that do that stuff, so I'm happy with that. Davi88 asks, have you written the next Kilgars code? You would probably know this, Davi, if you were on Patreon. The next Kilgars code is pretty much done, but it was supposed to come out at Christmas, and I couldn't finish it on time. So what I did was I just hung it up, and I'll put it out this year, so it'll be this Christmas, because it's kind of a seasonal cartoon. It's not directly, it is not about Christmas or anything, but it's sort of about family and cold weather and snow. I hope that makes sense. It's about how to survive the elements when it's cold, like basically how to Kilgarians. It's called How to Survive the Elements, and it's snowing, and that is, you know, and it's seasonal, and it's snowing, and you have Hogstrong drinking a hot chocolate, so it kind of has like a Christmas vibe. And I thought bringing that out in January doesn't really feel right, you know, but that's been almost made. But in terms of like other scripts, I have another one written that is how to make money, which I'd like to do at some point. What is the nemesis of Dr. Bees? So I had a character written, not as a nemesis, but like there we go, it's saved. Not as a nemesis, but as another hero. And somebody already did it, and I didn't know this, and I found out later, and it made me really mad. So I thought this was so funny. And if I tell you, you'll probably think it's funny, but I found that there's some kind of already exists, and I didn't know this. I had the idea for a character called Baby Man. Baby Man is a guy that walks around with 100 babies taped to his body, all over him. You can just see like his eyes and his mouth, but he's covered in living babies. They're all crying and writhing. And the reason he does this is because he's like, it makes me completely invulnerable. No criminal will dare mess with Baby Man. And you go, like, Baby Man, you know, goes to stop a bank robbery. And the bank robbers are like, oh my God, I don't want to shoot a baby. Quickly, put your guns away, boys. And he's like, you are powerless to stop me. I am Baby Man. And you know, he like launches, he's like grabs his baby gun that's covered in babies and launches a baby at one of them. And that one of them runs to catch the baby because he's like, oh my God, that kid's gonna get hurt. So this big hardened gangster goes to run to save the baby, you know, from being splattered against the wall, and in doing so accidentally jumps through a plate glass window and ends up getting injured, but the baby's fine. And you know, but once again, Baby Man has saved the day. I thought that was really funny, but it turns out that there's some comic book, I don't know what it was because I didn't read it, I only saw the panel, where a criminal does that in like a Marvel or DC comic, who straps a bunch of kids to himself. He does that so the police don't shoot him. He is a villain. I thought it was much funnier that the guy thought he was being heroic. You know, that's the comedy take on it. But that happens in some superhero comic book. And when I saw that, I thought, if I do that, people are just going to think that I took that idea. But I thought I had the idea first. So I would love to have done Baby Man. Maybe I still could, if people know that I didn't rip it off. But that's always a danger. If you do something that's, you know, there's so many ideas out there floating around. Why is that not pasting? What is going on there? Oh, heck, why? So I'm trying to copy this background and it is not being my buddy. Copy. Paste. Yes, there we go. Good. Alright, guys. Well, I think I'm about done. I will probably need to play with the timing of the shot a little bit. I'm going to have to put in a drop shadow underneath Dogtooth, I think, so that you see sort of a bit of down here, maybe, like a little bit of shading. But that works for me. I like that. So he's like, dun 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 dun. Ah! Although, kind of want there to be maybe one more in between there. Uh-oh, Harry wants another in between. I feel like he stops to... I feel like he stops too suddenly. Could I copy and paste one of these frames in there maybe? Did that ease it in a little bit more? No, it would not, and I don't want to. Yeah, I don't like. I just feel like he stops too suddenly. Damn it. Okay, well, I think I got more work to be doing on this bad boy. Damn it. Dun, 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 dun. I think another frame, or maybe even another 2 frames in there, would help out big time. Just smooth, just a little bit, so he sort of gradually comes to a stop before he twists it the other way. But that is for me to deal with. I think this shot works pretty good right now. It's just not perfect, and I think you get the idea. So, thank you to everybody that came by today on my live stream. A little bit of a dissatisfying end, because I still think I have more work to do. Gregor says Harry's at the in-betweens again. No, guys, come on. This is completely legit. Alright. We're gonna go away. I'm gonna finish it today. It'll be done today. So, I think that still was a pretty good stream. So thank you everyone for coming by today. God bless you all. Really appreciate the super chats, guys. You don't need to do that. Ominous Bagel, thank you for coming by here at the end. I'm sorry I didn't... Oh, and Donny Arts and Beck Carmine. Oh man, there's a bunch of people that I didn't acknowledge yet in the chat, but thank you for coming by. And I will be with you again soon. It won't be forever. It's gonna work out really hard next couple of days to get this thing finished. And you'll see it finished and online this month. I cannot see how it would be possible to take any longer than the rest of this month, because I'm aiming by the 8th to give all the files over to the music and sound guys. So I can't see why it wouldn't be out in June. So, all right, everyone. Gregor says, is this the final shot? Gregor, it's never the final shot. You fool. No, we're not done yet. I still got some stuff I want to tweak. But, all right, everyone. Thanks for coming by. You take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.